and welcome to the Virtual Business Owners Network on Friday, the 12th of July, 2024. I'm delighted to welcome Amit Wadhwa to a presentation called How to Turbocharge Your Landing Pages. So Amit, take it away.
Thanks, Alec. I assume I can share screens. So I have done this as a website, which I can circulate with Alec's newsletter next week, simply because I can show how the behaviors can be translated into Google Analytics and tracking and building audiences for your remarketing. So we all know that landing pages are very specific pages that are geared towards conversions, whether it be clicking to your website through ads, email campaigns, for your social media. So they have a basic structure of a unique selling proposition with a nice image, explaining the benefits of your product or service, social proof, and a call to action. That would be your pretty standard structure. I mean, if you do some research on social media journals or website experts. The benefits of a landing page are that they increase your conversions with enhanced user experience, improve the ad performance. So by creating information that is directly related to the ads that people are clicking on, you get better engagement. And they help with brand building. And they can help in tracking as well in terms of how much traffic you're getting from your various campaigns and stuff. But what I'm going to talk about is how can we take that another level higher is by doing deep dive into their behavior tracking on how they're interacting with your content. And I'll show all of this with data and Google Analytics to back it up. How you can use that data to move a step further and create remarketing audiences for your Google ads, so that once they've been served an ad from Google on your behalf, they've clicked, they've visited your website, you know what behaviors they carried on your page. You can create a second ad campaign to encourage them come back. And the last one is probably more relevant to people like coaches and mentors and stuff, is being able to revisit the user input. So the call to action can be a contact form, can be a detailed requirement gathering form. What I'm saying is that we can make it and design it in such a way that the person who has filled it in can come back and refill it, and you can create a continuous improvement cycle with them. So it's particularly powerful for landing pages that are used by coaches, mentors, that might have benefits of my coaching technique, benefits of this, and tell me about your problem. And that's that form that you can take to the next level then. So we'll start off with user behavior tracking. I've kept the definition of all the terms there on the left, which you can read through as once you have the link in the newsletter next week. But basically, it's to get an insight of what users are doing on your website. And there are lots of basic items that get tracked when you set up analytics, page views, how long they're spending on your website. If you have Microsoft Clarity or Hotjar, where they're clicking, heat maps, how far they're scrolling, what funnel they're moving through, navigation paths. But I'm going to focus on more advanced items that need setup, that are not available as standard, but certainly can be done. So things like form fill. So when people fill out a form, we know which form they have filled out. And to the point, you can actually capture the information that they have filled out. And this is completely platform agnostic because it's administered through Google Tools. So you can have a WordPress website, you can have a Shopify website. With a little bit of tweaking, you can set it up for any of those platforms. And in the advanced items, when I say content visited, I mean more than just how far they've scrolled. So if you have a website similar to what I'm showing today, where you have different sections, you can see which section they scroll down to, how long was it in view. So I have actually set up some events which track when people visit this landing page section. And if they stay more than 3 seconds, it's recorded as an event. So I'm like, you can't do 30-second pitch on the internet because nobody will stick around to read unless there's lots of engaging content, but it's great. So I put a 3-second limit, because if they're spending 3 seconds on a section, chances are they've taken some of my content in. So it's an educated guess. So there are margins of error in this. I accept that. But on a one-sided medium, we have to work with best guesses. So as I said, the tools required are simply
Google Analytics 4 and Google Tag Manager, freely available. They do need to be set up to capture the advanced information. There's the basic ones, they're literally click boxes in Google Tag Manager. And once you integrate that, it can track that. So there's no issues. And how are we turbocharging? So I have some examples here. But again, I will do all of these and show you how the data is going into the analytics. So how do you track form fills? You just fill out the form. I'll just put in dummy data and I submit. The form is submitted to the website owner and they've been reloaded into the landing page section. And emails have been sent in the background. But in analytics, what has happened is it'll take a few seconds. So I'll come back to analytics to show you the events that are happening here. The second one is content visitor tracking. And as I'm scrolling down, I will show you the data for that as well. And the last one is video behavior. Some of you might remember this from the Wave presentation that we did earlier. But just to reiterate, I'm going to let this video play on mute. And I have markers built into this video at various time lengths, 35 seconds, 46 seconds, 55, and 1 minute, which correspond with certain pieces of content that I'm talking about in the video. What that does is when those markers are hit, I capture that in Google Analytics, I create audiences from it, and I send it off to my Google Ads to do my retargeting. So if you have a video on your landing page, if people aren't even hitting your first marker, let's say you had the marker at 20 seconds, you know that the video isn't really engaging people. If they are hitting that, then you know which content they have seen. Your next ad campaign or your next landing page campaign or your next investment can be based on that. And so on and so forth, based on the various markers that you may have set up. So if we go to the views, there's many different events coming up. So you can see form submission here, one form submission. I've captured the challenge that they filled out. It'll give you the string that I typed in, company URL, which I just put in a sample one, company name. So you can capture all this information and you can then translate that into Google. You can get an idea of who's viewing your data or who's filled out the form. I've stayed away from capturing personal names and emails in this or phone numbers, but if you wanted to, you can. But I'm not getting into GDPR nightmares here. So, and you can see the deployment, design brief, development. These are the various stages of the video. So I'm watching the video that is titled the Zava website design process. And these are now being set up in my Google Ads as audiences. So now I know that this person who created this event watched my video to I know that discovery is the 35-second marker. So now I can create ad campaigns. Okay, they read about discovery and actually, do you know what? They also scroll down. You can combine these events as well to create groups. So I can actually create complex events where I go, okay, they scroll down 20% of the website, they stayed on that for 3 seconds, and they filled out the form. Then I can create an audience from that. So while what I'm showing you is quite simplistic, they're isolated, but I can actually combine them into very concrete pieces of information for you to go, okay, now this person really was engaged because they scrolled 80% of the page, they spent 2 minutes on that section, and they filled out the form, means that's actually now a warm lead. That's not just a website visitor. So then you can create your warm lead audience and you can do your next campaign to them. Or if they have filled out the form, again, you don't know who, obviously there's no personal information you can capture it, but you can take it to the next stage. Sorry, I'm waffling a little bit. And then the final stage in the requirements gathering, and as I said, this will strike a chord with lots of coaches, mentors, even people like yourself, Maureen, where you might be taking in information in terms of creating a dedicated plan for them or something like that. I have a link to a tool that I've been using for my website planning clients.
You can test drive it. It is login protected, so it will show exactly how it works and how we protect the information as well. Once you log into this tool, which I will show you. So as you can see, it's login protected, or you can register. Once you, sorry, I'm an admin, so I have to log back in. Just give me 2 seconds to log in. But essential features are that it creates stakeholder involvement. It creates an iterative process with clear documentation, and you can put in your structured technique. You can showcase that you're taking information in a structured way rather than just being a generic form with name, email, whatever. Especially, and that creates I guess, meat on the bone for your campaign. That you're not just about collecting names and emails. You're actually going, right, you've come this far to my website from my ad, from my email campaign. Now let's take this conversation to the next stage. Benefits again are self-explanatory. That it creates clarity. It aids in continuous improvement, risk mitigation. All of those things, they're listed there. I don't want to read through them. But turbocharging, in this case, what we allow is things like version control. So if you want to revisit the input somebody has given you, it can be stored on your website and they can come back and change the input. So let's say if you started a coaching relationship today, they had certain criteria and requirements on the 12th of July. On the 12th of October, 3 months later, they can revisit that because changes have been happening and you can start the process again. So it helps with continuous improvement. You can store it for version control, so you can see a history of all your input. And it is confidential, as I say. It's we protect it with a gate, a login, and password. Once this goes into the WordPress backend, sorry, I'm an admin, so I have to log in through the proper channels, unfortunately. But once you submit the response to this form, it gets stored into the website. So make sure your GDPR policies, privacy policies are clear on that and how you're storing that information. So work with an expert on that to make sure you're covered. But after that, there is security built into it, in that the content is only visible to the website owner, i.e. myself, and the person who published it. You can't publicly view these responses. And I do want to show you an example of it. So if you'll give me 10 seconds to log in. I was logged in, but it timed out since yesterday. And obviously I have two-factor authentication on my website, so it protects from hacking attempts. The content, when you submit the form on this page, it goes into a special section on the website called CB Responses. So here is the form. It's a very complex, detailed form. You have your business details, business name, what kind of business it is, what your target market is, competitors information. You can add more than one. What's your USP, your personality that you want on the website, or for your brand on the website. You can add your own. Give us some customer profiles, and you can add more than one customer type. And some other details that I need from the website owner, and likes and dislikes, and why. And again, I can add to it. So all of these responses are captured and stored on the website, that only myself and you can view. And it's stored there, but you can revisit this during a consultation with them. You can look at it, and from the front end, the person who submitted it can come back and edit this form again. They don't need to be logged into this admin panel at all. They can come back and look at their responses. So I actually have a your profile link once you log in, where you can see the responses you submitted. You can go back and edit them. So what it does is it allows your landing page to be much more effective but also be usable in the future. So if you build a detailed requirement gathering form because you want to add it to your campaign, it doesn't stop there. You can come back and reuse that using this technique. So yeah, I think I went quickly because there's a lot to cover. Yeah, so all questions welcome now.
Listen, thank you very much, Amit, and I will open it up to questions for people. Thank you very much. I'll just stop the recording now, and then we will get into questions. Okay, where are we?
And